Our mothers were traditional women. Women today are not traditional women. They don't have the class our mothers had. They don't have the mentality our mothers had.
And that is the reason why most of the women in our mother's generation are filled with bitterness and are resentful.
Hey beautiful people, how you all doing today? It's your girl Destiny here and welcome to my channel. How have you all been? Hope you guys are doing great. So today's video is a very interesting video. Like guys, you guys need to hear my response. I was fired up in this video, okay? So this video is a video of our podcast that we're having the conversation, and a man, I want to assume this man is a Nigerian because he sounds Nigerian and his ideology sounds like a Nigerian man. Okay. So they were on the podcast and this man went on to talk about how women of today are not traditional women and how traditional women, which is their mothers, sacrifice everything, that their mother will put everybody first, make sure everybody's taken care of, including the maids, before herself. And this has struck a big conversation down, especially in the African part of TikTok, where a lot of us are having the conversation talking about why a lot of women today are not your traditional woman, why a lot of women today are not our mothers today anymore, why a lot of women today are not patient anymore and will not take what our mothers took. Anyway, guys, let's go check out this video that has gotten everybody talking, people's response to it, and then we'll come back and talk more. And also, like I said, you guys need to watch more because I got really fired up. This was like, hey! Anyway, guys, let's go check it out and then we'll talk more.
Our mothers were traditional women. Women today are not traditional women. They don't have the class our mothers had. They don't have the mentality our mothers had. They don't have the patience.
What's the definition of a traditional woman?
A traditional woman thinks of her family before she thinks of her own self.
That's your
That's
definition.
a traditional. That's your mother. All our mothers thought of the kid, thought of the father, and thought of the house, even thought of the house helpers before she even thought of herself. That's a traditional woman.
Okay.
Today women are not like our mothers. Today women are not traditional enough like our mothers. Today's women are not like our mothers. Do you know our mothers told us never to be like them? Do you know that? And I'm sure that same mother you are praising, oh, my mother, that same mother told your sister never to make the mistakes she has made in marriage. Our mothers are traditional. Our mothers are traditional. It's those same mothers that told we, the young ones, never to marry such husbands. The husband that they marry, never to make such mistake. In fact, it's that same mothers that went to the altar to pray that God, in anything you do, do not let my daughter marry somebody like her father. It is that same mothers, that you are praising like this, that went to the altar and say and pray that God, please, in anything and everything, let my daughter enjoy her marriage. Let my daughter stay peacefully in her marriage. Let my daughter's marriage be nothing like my own. That same mothers whispered in our ears, never to do what they did. Never to marry the kind of man they married. We didn't even, some of us did not even wait till our mother to tell us this. We saw. Mm-hmm. And a lot of you men also saw. But I don't know the brain you're using to think. Most of we women saw and swore never to marry somebody like our father. That is why today's women are nothing like our mothers. These women whispered.
Our mothers were traditional women. Women today are not traditional women. They don't have the class our mothers had. They don't have the mentality our mothers had. They don't have the patience.
What's the definition of a traditional woman?
A traditional woman thinks of her family before she thinks of her own self.
That's your definition.
That's a traditional. That's your mother. All our mothers thought of the kid, thought of the father, and thought of the house, even thought of the house helpers before she even thought of herself.
I don't want this video to be long, but
after listening to that, then you wonder why a lot of your mother-in-laws are monsters. You wonder why your mother-in-law thinks that you are enjoying too much because you're sitting in front of a car that has an AC. You wonder why your mother-in-law thinks that because she made a pot of soup with turkey, she feels like her son is lavishing on you. You wonder why all of these your mother-in-laws, they are angry unnecessarily. They are easily triggered. This right here is the reason why they are like that. Because when you do all of that with nobody giving you the same level of care and attention, the way your mother, you're shouting, my mother used to care for the family, you care for the children, even the maid. Did you ask your mother if she got any care whatsoever from your dad in the same level that she gave your dad? Hold on, let me show you something else he said. Because, Mumbo.
Thank you very much. Because she was brought out from his what?
Rapes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
You
what's your
talking
point?
about a woman's dream is to support her man
Miracle.
to raise her
This is
kids
because you're
in the
a man.
bright light of the Lord,
Miracle.
and also to the privilege and proudness of her husband.
That right there is a man that actually does not believe or does not actually think that a woman should have anything doing for herself. A woman should not think about herself or worry about herself, take care of herself. No, because why? She was only created
For a man.
to take care of the man and his family. Sherry, most of you, oh my goodness. And I'm seriously, I've already blocked them anyway because I don't want to see such content in my FYP anymore. But that one, he is not the only kind of man like that outside. There are a million and one of them who actually thinks from their asses like that. Like, jeez. But see you next time when I stumble on any mad TikTok. Bye. See you. Bye.
Our mothers were traditional women. Women today are not traditional women. They don't have the class our mothers had. They don't have the mentality our mothers had. They don't have the patience.
What's the definition of a traditional woman?
A traditional woman
That's what God
thinks
will tell me
of
now.
her family before she thinks of her own self.
Miracle, that's your
That's a
definition.
traditional. That's your mother. All our mothers thought of the kid, thought of the father, and thought of the house, even thought of the house helpers before she even thought of herself. That's a traditional woman.
I don't actively date. And when I tell people I don't actively date, they think it's because I'm a feminist and I hate men. No, it's because men are slow. I don't actively date because men are too slow for my liking. And I'm an educated woman. I've got a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and a PhD. I value men who are capable of critical thinking, appreciating nuanced thinking, and men who have high emotional intelligence. And the average man out there does not have it. Just look at this guy. And this is how a lot of the average African men, Nigerian men, Ghanaian men, African men, West African men you're meeting are going to sound like. They grew up in homes where their mothers, as he said, put everybody else's needs above their own needs. Okay? They grew up in homes where the mothers stayed regardless. These mothers are in 40-year-old marriages, 50-something-year-old marriages, 30-something-year-old marriages. No, regardless of how enriching or not so enriching, whether the marriage was empowering or not, whether the marriage improved their lives or not, these women stayed regardless. No matter the treatment, no matter how horrible it was, these women stayed. And they sacrificed their lives and everything they could ever be for the sake of their husbands and their children. And to this guy, he thinks that's normal. He's normalized it and doesn't understand why the modern woman is somehow deviating from it. And this is where critical thinking comes in, because your mothers and grandmothers, our mothers and grandmothers went through this, and this is how they run their lives. Somehow modern women are deviating, and you cannot apply your brains for exactly what it was made for. To think and say, maybe, could it be maybe because there are certain opportunities that exist today that younger women are taking advantage of, that is making it easier for them to make alternative choices? Meaning, for some of our mothers, the reason they stayed is because they had no options. They had no choices. They had no means of taking care of themselves or the children that they would have produced in these marriages. Could it be, just be, could it be that modern women just have access to certain tools, okay, that they are able to determine what is right for them, what is best for them, and at what time to embark on these things? This is why I hate that song. Sweet mother, I no go forget you. For this suffer way you suffer for me. Because that song has normalized celebrating mothers for just suffering and pain and endurance of nonsense and bullshit. African men, some of you African men of today, you've gone to school, you're educated, you're well-traveled, you're exposed, but some way, somehow, your mindsets are still stuck in 1597. You guys don't really love your mothers.
True.
You don't. Because you don't see your mothers. How do you see your beloved mothers go through these experiences that deny them of so much richness in life? Everything they put on hold to raise you, to stay and endure some of these unsavory dynamics they had in their homes. How do you see your mothers and think that is absolutely normal?
Well, that's what you wish.
You don't love your mothers. You don't see them as human beings. You don't talk to them. You don't really speak to your mothers and have candid conversations with them, because they will actually uncover certain truths to you. A lot of them hid a lot from what they were going through and how they truly felt about these marriages from you.
True.
And for a lot of these mothers, they are the ones talking to us and encouraging us to take our time, go to school, develop our careers, establish ourselves. They are the ones advising us to have separate bank accounts. They're the ones advising us to develop ourselves to the fullest potentials before we settle down. They're the ones advising us on how to escape. They're the ones encouraging us not to stay when the going gets nasty. You guys are not talking to your mothers because you don't see them. You are selfish. You don't see women as human beings, and somehow you have internalized the suffering, the pain, the dehumanization that your mothers went through, and you want to project it on us and expect it of us. Are you okay? Are you okay? Look at this one. All you know is to buy microphone and come and sit there. Women today don't have class like our mothers. They don't have endurance like our mothers. They are not traditional like our nonsense.
Our mothers were traditional women. Women today are not traditional women. They don't have the class our mothers had. They don't have the mentality our mothers had. They don't have the patience.
What's the definition of a traditional woman?
A traditional woman
That's what God
thinks
will tell me
of
now.
her family before she thinks of her own self.
That's your
That's
definition.
a traditional. That's your mother. All our mothers thought of the kid, thought of the father, and thought of the house. Even thought of the house helpers before she even thought of herself. That's a traditional woman.
And that is the reason why most of the women in our mother's generation are filled with bitterness and are resentful.
Yes.
This is the exact reason why, because they put everybody before themselves. Most of our mothers sacrificed their lives and their existence for their family, for their husband and their children. And as a result, most of them are filled with bitterness and resentment. Consequently, they hold the sacrifices that they made over their children. And that is the reason why most African mothers have an unhealthy attachment to their children, because they sacrificed everything for their children and their family. So you would hear African mothers say that after everything I did for you children, I sacrificed everything for you children, I deserve better than this. That is the reason why most African mothers have an unhealthy attachment to their children. Do you know how sad it is to go through life and to center your life around being a wife and a mother? That is sad. Most of our mothers had no identity outside of being a wife and a mother. And most of them would die without having any sense of identity. However, men never put anyone first. Men put themselves first. Most of your fathers put themselves first. You will hardly see a man put his wife and his children first. Men always put themselves first. So why should we follow the steps of our mothers, most of whom are bitter and are filled with resentment because they put everybody ahead of themselves? And this is why I say this. Most men do not love their mothers. They love the sacrifices that their mothers made for them. Because if you would sit with your mother and you ask her about her perspectives, and if she had the opportunities that we have in this generation, if you ask your mother if she would have made the same choices that she made, she would tell you she would have made different choices. She would have perhaps pursued a career, travel around the world, and perhaps never get married. But most men don't even sit to have this heartfelt conversation with their mothers to understand marriage from the perspective of their mothers, because marriage for their mothers was about self-sacrifice. Our mothers were socialized in a generation where they were told that being a good woman is about sacrificing for your husband and your children and putting yourself last. And that created a generation of women who are filled with bitterness and resentment because they put themselves last. As a woman, put yourself first. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Our mothers did not prioritize emotional health and mental health, and that is why most of them were damaged and traumatized in marriage, and they are not healed, and most of them are filled with bitterness and resentment. The women of this generation, we put ourselves first, we put our emotional health first, and we put our mental health first. You cannot raise healthy and wholesome children if you do not put yourself first as a woman. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And I'm sorry to say this, but most of our mothers believe they did a good job, but they did not do a good job raising us, because they were not healthy emotionally and mentally. And subsequently, most of our mothers passed on their own trauma and brokenness to their children. And most of us Africans, we are not healed. A lot of us walk around with a lot of trauma, but we do not even recognize and accept the dysfunctional homes we were raised in. So no, I do not want to be a traditional woman who puts everybody first and put herself last. Men always choose themselves, and therefore I will always choose myself and put myself first, because I cannot pour from an empty cup. Dear women, decenter men. Even in marriage, decenter your husband, put yourself first, and then focus on your kids. The men will be fine, because men always put themselves first. My name is Dr. Zita. I am a sociologist. This is the dawn of a new day.
Love you.
If you're not following, guess what? Hit the follow button.
Please go ahead and share your thought about this conversation down in the comment section. But always keep it respectful. You're on this channel, we're allowed to disagree, but do it in a very respectful way. So go ahead. Let's have this conversation. We don't tussle here. We're just here for conversation. So this conversation, like, I so love what the last creator was talking about. And this is so true. And this is a typical mindset of a Nigerian man. I'll speak for Nigeria because I'm from Nigeria. That's where I grew up. That's literally home. That's where I live all my life, everything. So that's the mindset. And the fact that a lot of men in my culture, in my society, in my country think this way, it just really shows why someone like me, I get a lot of pushback. People give me the side eye. I'm being labeled the married single woman, and people cannot understand. And this is what I feel like has also affected a lot of marriages, even in this day, because a lot of men really feel so entitled to a woman's suffering, of how a woman should keep on pouring and pouring and give up all herself. And when you're not doing that as a woman, you're not seen as that wife material. You're not seen as that woman. And the truth is that a lot of women in my culture, in my society, has gone to this place where they perform this thing, and especially when they want to get married, to be that long-suffering woman and all that. But the truth is that a lot of times they don't come to have this conversation, even though our mothers, which I've had this conversation with my mom a couple of times. I'm like, I know what you went through. We know what you went through, but how come you are still one of those people that push marriage so hardly and you're so excited, like, and all that? And yet, your marriage was not good. No, my mom said, I hope yours will be better, and that's why we allowed you to pick the person you want to be with. We didn't pressurize you to get married. We didn't do this, we didn't do that, because we want yours to be better, because marriage is a good thing. See, like, if you be on the channel, you know how I feel about the traditional marriage, or how the structure of marriage as a whole. It doesn't serve you as a woman. And looking at what our mothers, our aunties, our grandmothers went through, marriage does not serve us. So what makes the men of today feel like now we as women, we're having conversation, we're talking to each other, we're still going to make the same mistakes our mother make? Why? Because the truth is, one of the biggest thing that happened to at least my time is the internet. Because a lot of our mothers were not allowed to express themselves. A lot of our mothers were not allowed to speak about the struggles they are going through. A lot of our mothers were allowed to suffer and smile. A lot of our mothers were given fake promises like, don't worry, suffer a little more, suffer, stay longer, do this, suffer, because your reward is in heaven. And that has also created a lot of trauma in our culture, in our society, in the household, because a lot of mothers, especially mothers, feel very, very entitled to their children, feel very, very attached to their children, because you know why? They don't know anything, they don't have anything outside of their children, because that's the only thing, that's where they give their entire life for. They put themselves last, they don't even have themselves anymore. So the only thing that they have is the children. So you now see them, they're prying into their children's life. Who are you getting married to? Who do you want? Oh, the girl that you brought to the house, or the man you brought to the house does not do this for me, and all that. And the truth is that a lot of, like the last creator said, a lot of men don't love their mothers. A lot of men don't love their wife. We've established the wife one here, but also let's go deep into how a lot of men don't love their mother. They love the idea of all the things their mother did for them. They love the idea of all the sacrifice their mother sacrificed for them. All the father did not give them money, but their mother went to set a rapper and give them the money instead. They love all the sacrifice, and I feel like that's the mentality they've taken into marriage, expecting them to sacrifice from their women, expecting that if I don't show up, then show up for me, show up for my children that we have together. And we are breaking this generational curse, because it is a generational curse, because all the weight in marriage has been put upon you as a woman. In my society, in my culture, they will tell you it's a woman that keeps a marriage, forgetting that it takes two people to keep a marriage. And then you have men in 2025 still speaking like this, talking about how their mothers put everybody first before ourselves. Who does that? How do you expect somebody to love you when the person hasn't loved themselves? How do you expect a person to pour into you when the person hasn't poured to herself? And has your mother sacrificed everything? What was the reward? Like, look at our mothers, look at our grandmothers that gave everything to their man, that gave everything to their husband, that did 50 years marriage, 30 years, 40 years marriage. What was the reward? What was the reward? What's the award they took out of the marriage? Is the entitlement of their children, what their children are supposed to do for them. That's the only reward. So why me, as a logical, educated, self-aware, self-involved woman, will want to do that same thing? Why I don't have anything of my own? A lot of our mothers don't have anything of their own. They don't. But you see the fathers, they're fine. Our mother time, you can't leave your child, you're a useless mother. The stigma, you can't even walk around, people will laugh at you. The same women that are going through the same suffering that you're going through will laugh at you. But like, I love this our generation, especially the millennials, and even I love us because we're speaking our truth, we're telling our truth, and we're warning other women, we're warning other girls, and we're telling what you're going through was not very specific to you, because a lot of times they make us feel like, oh, cover your home, cover your home. No, we'll open everything. We'll open everything. Let everybody know. They're all the same. Most of them. You want the Pregnant Day woman to be like your mother. Why are you even calculating Pregnant Day woman and your mother? Your mother that does not have a choice, that does not have an opinion, that does not have a life. You want us that were able to get a camera for to go on the same path. Come on. Anyway, guys, go down in the comment section, share your thoughts. Love to know what you think. Share this video with somebody that you want to be part of the conversation, because that's what we do here. We have banging conversation. So go on and share this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, smash the like button, because this helps YouTube to push out my content for more people to see, and that'll be supporting this channel and this girl. Yeah, so go on and do that. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Deuces.